Hi, I'm Paul Thomas from Glenbogal Aquatic. Myself and my wife and staff have been propagating water lilies and aquatic plants for the retail industry for the last 20 years. We constantly get asked, how do you fertilise a water lily, how do you fertilise an iris, how do you fertilise a lotus? So I'm just here today to talk to you about the product that we have and we use that we believe is tried and tested for water gardens and is safe for fish and aquatic life. This is our display pond. The current water lily fertiliser we use are the season-long fertiliser tablets. The reason we use those is purely because of the size of the pond and the convenience it provides. They last for up to 7 or 8 months depending on the type of plant that you have. The bigger the plant, the faster it will be exhausted. The smaller the plant, the longer it will last. So, in the case of a small plant, you may only need 1 a season. Where you have a large variety, you may need 2, possibly 3 tablets. Also with Lotus, you may need 2 or 3 tablets depending on the size pot. But they are a season-long tablet, and generally 1 or 2 tablets, depending again, as I said, on the size of the plant, will last the whole season, so they're very convenient. The conventional fertiliser that's always been used is one that lasts about a month, 3 to 4 weeks. So in the season you can go in and fertilise your plants with a single 5 gram tablet. Right, they're available in 12 packs, 24 and 60 tabs. They're not as convenient obviously because you have to fertilise regularly throughout the season, but they do give you more control because you don't have to feed too early. So if you're unsure and you're waiting for those plants to get underway and growing, you can cut the tablet in half, or you can hold off until the plant is really grown. You don't get that advantage with the big tablet. You really need to wait until the plant is well underway before you put the season-long tablet in. They're both completely safe with fish life as long as they're not overdosed. Fish life, they're not harmful to plants, they're not harmful to dogs drinking out of the pond. We've got 3 dogs that drink out of the pond all the time. They're completely okay. The problems arise from fertilising too early, and the nutrient can leach into the pond because the plant isn't using the fertiliser. It isn't using the nutrient. And that brings me to the third product, which gives people a lot more convenience. It's a micronutrient fertiliser that encourages blooms. It doesn't have the nitrogen levels, so it doesn't encourage algae in whatsoever in any form, but it doesn't give substantial amounts of food. But it's really convenient for people who can't get into a pond, who can't bend down, who can't simply get in to poke the tablet in even once a season. You can dose once a week, and it gives, as I said, the micronutrients for encouraging bloom growth, and it also has extracted barley straw. So on top of encouraging the growth of the water lily or the plant that you put it in with, it discourages, and in fact if used on a weekly basis will help most significantly the growth of algae. In this pond, as I said, we use these fertiliser tablets, and you might notice there's a slight discoloration to the water. We like doing that because we're rural and we have a lot of problems with shags and cormorants wanting to eat our goldfish. Once the lilies are really established, which they're just about there, we will put our UVs on and the water will go crystal clear, but we don't do that until we've got complete coverage and our tropical water lilies are not up to scratch yet. I'm going to pause the video now and then we're going to come back to us where I'm showing you how to fertilise with these tablets the actual plant. So welcome to the nursery. This is where we propagate and grow on all our young stock. Well, certainly in the picture you'll see here some of the stock that we grow. There's a mixture of tropicals which are just coming into season, the little blues here, whites, pinks, yellows, and we've got purple in the far corner, and a variety of other hardies. This is only a snippet of the area. We propagate our water lilies in solid-sided pots purely and simply because it's a lot easier for us to actually get in and fertilise and maintain and lift and clean ponds. In a home environment, we highly recommend using baskets. Okay, baskets allow the roots to come out of the plant, out of the basket, and feed off nutrient in the water. So it's a double whammy. It lets the plant grow without the restriction of a solid-sided pot, and it helps keep that water clean. The roots feed off the nutrients, the same nutrients that cause algae to grow. Those roots suck out those nutrients, feed the plant, whatever type of plant it is, feed it well, and that helps compete directly against algae for its growth. Slightly different subject. But for today, what we normally do to dispatch our lilies is we transplant from a solid-sided pot into a basket. Okay, so to fertilise, right, you have your aquatic mix, your pebbles, and your fertiliser tabs. It's as simple as, for us, tipping that one plant out, poking the fertiliser in the root ball at the bottom, making sure it's well closed in. You don't want it too close to the side of the pot. Placing that into your basket, making sure you're not damaging any of the crown or head of the plant. Compacting that down, again avoiding that area there. See another new young leaf, you're trying to avoid that. Top the soil in. Now, because we've got fish in the ponds to eat the bugs, we put gravel across the top. The leaves will happily push through, but it stops the goldfish digging in, and it's as simple as that. In the case that you've got that in your pond, that is the pond that you've had from the plant that you've had last season, we simply clear away the gravel, poke a hole in, put the fertiliser tablet in, push the soil back in, cover back up with the gravel. That's as simple as it is. With the big tablets, you can do that. You only have to do it once a season. With those 5 gram tablets, which are used about once a month, you use them once a month, or you use them as often as you feel it is required to get the best out of your plant. Plants will do really well, but to get peak bloom and healthy condition, the fertiliser is like a multivitamin, except it's better. So simply a good basket will allow those roots to get out and feed off nutrient in the water, goldfish, waste, pollution, those sources of food. But a fertiliser tablet gives the micronutrients, the specifics to encourage the bloom and the solid growth. So that's the basket. Drop it back in, and you will see by next month we'll come and take another shot of it. You'll see how quickly the roots have come out. That's another one there, and we would just simply, again, same deal, poke a hole in, put the fertiliser in, cover it up, and put some gravel across the top, and drop it back in. Thank you.